Well, certainly the future is so bright, you got to wear shades, right, Jordan?
Oh, yeah.
And if you paid attention to any and all of today's talks, the future's right in front of us, and we know that now. And so we wanted to share with you just a couple of things that we found that we think are really interesting and things that you can take back with you to enhance your own future. So, when we started talking about this talk, figure out how to put these things somewhere. When we started talking about what we were going to talk about, we kind of landed on this one actor, and we thought, oh man, this guy's an outstanding actor. He's a really good person. He's good for the community. He's from this area, and he won this big award. He gave this great speech, and he talked about things that we can all apply in our daily lives in the recreation industry. But that wasn't good enough for me. I wanted to find out where this guy, this actor, learned the things that he was telling everybody about in his speech. And every actor has a mentor. Every professional has a mentor. And so I found this guy's mentor, and I found the things that made this guy who he is. And so I wanted to tell you about the mentor because you don't hear a lot about him. So this mentor is, well, he's pretty quiet. He's been in a few movies. You may not really know too much about him. He's quiet. But he's always on time. He knows his lines, studies them really well. And he's always got a head full of ideas that are going to make the situation better. You know, he's somebody that is a variety of genres, from comedy to action. And so you've probably guessed it by now, we're talking about Wilson. And the actor that Wilson gave all of his knowledge to was Tom Hanks. And Tom Hanks, in his speech that he gave at the Golden Globes just a couple of weeks ago when he received the Cecil B. DeMille Award, talked about 3 things to make somebody really successful. And we thought these 3 things were really applicable to what we could do in our own profession to make us even better than what we are now, to make that future even brighter, that you have to wear shades. And so these 3 things included time, know the text, and what was the third one, Jordan?
And coming with a head full of ideas.
See, that's so good. My wife tells me that she has 2 main faults with me. One is that I don't listen, and the other, I'm not really sure what that is. But let's get into these. Time. For those of you over 40, does anybody know what time it is? Does anybody really care? Thank you. Thanks for that in the back. And so Mr. Rabbit here is late, always late for a very important date. And so when you think about time, what does that mean? We're rushing from one thing to the next. We say we multitask, but maybe we're really good at just dividing our time. How many of us show up for work around 8, kind of get to work around 8:30, you got to do the social thing, get the coffee, say hello to everybody. But how many of us, with our part-time staff, say, hey, when you're here and the clock strikes 8, you're on. You have to be on for our program. You have to be on for our customers, our clients. Do we preach or do we practice? And what does that mean in our own daily work?
So one of the things that Tom Hanks talked about, his number one thing, was being on time, and how that's a liberating thing where you can take control of your time and you're not putting it on someone else to be on top of you for other things. You're just prepared, you're on time. It just makes such a difference in the tone of the day or the shift that you're going to be working. As a full-time senior at Cal State East Bay and working 2 jobs, I definitely know the importance of time management. And I have found that it's the way that I'm dividing my time and the way that I am putting in the effort in the things that I do, and what are the most important things that I need to get done like that day. I'm pretty much a daily, weekly person at this point. And Chris and I talked about to-do lists and how that may change throughout the week, and we're crossing things out, and we're, adapting to things, but really there's a clear sense of what the most important things that we need to get done are. And also, I think that in this day and age with cell phones especially, we can be so overly connected with jobs or school or personal lives that we are constantly trying to react to emails, texts, and things like that. And that kind of takes, I feel that it may take away from the quality of the present work that we're doing. So obviously we need to multitask, that's part of our jobs, but to really practice to be present in each task and give your best effort for that task and respect that time that you're giving to the most important things in your job or your schooling has made a big difference for me. So yeah, that's something we can think about, and knowing how you're distracted, knowing how you're going to really focus, and giving this person that you're speaking with your full attention would make a big difference, I think.
So I would challenge you all, how do you mark your time? How do you treat time? And what's important to you, and how does your agency respect time? I know in the agency that I used to work for, the office opened at 8:30. You're expected to be there and good to go. And you were often asked to work nights and weekends and stuff that was beyond. So you were there to give your all to the community. And so again, if we're asking our part-timers to do all these things and invoking that work ethic, it's always a good reminder to make sure that we're taking care of it ourselves. Next was text. Tom Hanks talks about knowing your lines. Wilson never missed a line. That guy, I'm telling you, he knew all of his lines and he never missed one. And Tom Hanks says, be prepared. How many of us are prepared in our daily life and work to do what we need to do to be successful? I know that in my work, I want to make sure that I am never the individual that some project is held up for. I don't want somebody else to be waiting on me to get something done. So do you know what it is that takes for you to be successful, that your staff needs to be successful, and what it is that is going to set you up to be as prepared as possible?
Right, and what we talked about as well when we were coming up with this presentation was knowing the text can be related to work ethic. And work ethic can be your body language, showing up in a clean uniform, the tone of voice that you have, and 80 to 90% of what we say is how we say it and our nonverbal cues. So to be thinking about that and to be prepared for the day, to be energetic and enthusiastic, and that will really help to set the tone for your organization, and to set a good example for other employees as well, as an example of how you want them to act.
So be on time and know the text. The third one is come with a head full of ideas. Your agency didn't hire you because of what you know. I mean, they did, but they also hired you because of what you're going to bring. Right? Are you value added? Where can you grow? What can you do? Come with a head full of ideas. The agency that I used to work for had this, we'd have these management meetings and we had this folder. I think we called it the yellow folder. And all the ideas of great things went into this yellow folder. But they never came out of the yellow folder. They spent a lifetime in that damn yellow folder. And so the mentors that I was lucky enough to have in my career were the kind of people that said, well, take a what if we did X, Y, and Z and turn it into a why not. And really explore what is it that we can do or how we can do it instead of putting it in the folder and it collects dust.
And what I've learned over the years in my past professional experience and in recreation is to really be a solutions person. You know, don't just come with complaints. Come with your concerns, obviously, but come with some ideas of your own of how to make the situation better, or that you think maybe might be possible to make it better. As a supervisor or rec leader, you can ask your employees, you know, or start to ask them, what do you think? Before just like taking on all the responsibility of trying to fix it and doing all that. But what do you think? How would you fix this situation personally? You know, and it gets them thinking and maybe a little bit of growth on their part to see how things may get better. There's a book called Mindset, The New Psychology of Success by Carol Dweck. And she talks about fixed mindset and growth mindset. And fixed mindset is basically where you internalize your failures and you become your failures. But growth mindset is just recognizing room for growth and that there is no real failure. You're just you're a work in progress. And so when we talk about ideas, if you're going to bring your ideas, be prepared that not all your ideas are going to be welcomed and implemented and, you know, put in right away. There could be a yellow folder somewhere. But don't stop doing that. Bring the ideas, and maybe part of an idea will be implemented. Maybe there will be more collaborative work that will go into that idea. But you could find that your perspective is much needed for change, even a little bit. So I think that's important to know.
And as a supervisor of people that bring these ideas, even though the idea may not be a why not right now, and it certainly doesn't have to be a no, maybe it's a not right now. And we'll work on it at a certain time and a certain date, but remember to go back to that folder and those ideas, because those are the things that excite your staff. So, we have some outcomes. If you practice what you do with your time, know the text, and what was the third one again?
Ideas.
See, I told you. Old. You become a better leader. You become someone in the field that is able to address the challenges. We learned a lot about that today. Outstanding information. Go ahead.
Yes. To become a better leader, you know, showing your passion through your work, even those simple things with being on time, wearing your uniform, things like this, those simple things, good communication, bringing ideas, being a yes person, those will all help you become a better leader and collaborator in your department.
Another outcome is being a better communicator. Something we can always work on, right? And it's about how you give feedback. Is it descriptive feedback? Is it evaluative feedback? What is it that you can do both in how you like to receive information from your supervisors and how you like to give information?
Mm-hmm. I think Jackson said you kind of want to ask yourself, how would I like to receive feedback? And so that makes you think, well, how would others like to receive feedback? I think we're very similar if we find out that when we ask those questions, we're very similar in the ways we want to be respectful, respected. You know, some of us are probably want to be taken aside and given that time and that attention. So that's something really important, and that shows value, that the person you're talking to is valued, and that just shows that this department values that kind of interaction as well.
One of the other outcomes is really about how we build community. And we've talked about that in a number of sessions today, so I don't know that there's a whole lot to say there, other than we have a tremendous responsibility as recreation professionals in our communities and in the way we go about building community. Tremendous stuff. The last set of outcomes we have is, are you coachable? And are you a good coach? One of the great things about our profession is that there are a number of us in this room that have been in the field over 20, 30 plus years. I'll stop there. But we've had folks that have coached us over the years. And we've also had the opportunity to coach others. And so how well are you a coach? How coachable are you?
I think that goes back to the growth mindset as well, is to be able to be coached and not take things so personally, but rather than saying like, I can grow from this, and it's just a learning process. And especially if your supervisor or manager finds it as a teachable moment, that's even better. It makes everyone feel valued and moving forward together.
Another outcome is flexibility. I had a guy that I worked with for many years in San Ramon at the pool, and he used to say that in our profession we need to be flexible and we need to be sensitive. So he would always call it, we need to be flexitive, right?
Yes, so trying new things, even within the department. Maybe you were hired for one position specifically, but there's lots of opportunities that I have found. I've only been in the field for about 8 months now, and I've had the opportunity to be on many different projects and events, and just, yeah, we need another hand, like come out, see what this is like. And I'm happy to do all those things because I don't know everything, obviously, and I'm just learning. And one of the first things I did when I got my first rec job 8 months ago to get more hours perhaps, or introduce myself, was I emailed each person in the department, with permission of course, and just introduced myself. So senior center, preschool, facilities, and just introduce myself, what I was doing. I'm going to school, I'm happy to help wherever I can. If you need me, here's my information. And that's something we can do just to get ourselves out there, and try new things, and you may thrive in something you didn't know you could. So I think that's important.
I think it's also good in the area of flexibility to set stretch goals. And if you're a supervisor, set stretch goals for your staff. Be the ones to get them to move just beyond their current capabilities, things that they haven't done before or tried before. And it's okay if they fail. And that's a huge component here, right? That failing is okay. If it doesn't burn the building down, cost $1 million and no one dies, we can recover. So it's good that we try new things, and it may need a few tweaks over time, but failing is okay. Failing forward is even better. Own your own stuff. This is part of this, what we call personal branding. If you know what you're all about, and you're good at your time, you know the text, and what was that third one? Oh, head full of ideas.
All those
See?
ideas.
I'm getting there. If you know all these things, you begin in your profession, for those that are maybe new in the profession or newer, you build that sort of brand. People know who you are and what you're good at and what you stand for in the profession. And that helps down the line, because when you apply for a job somewhere else, your reputation in the field precedes you. They know who you are and know what your brand is. It makes you a better, stronger individual. And you're value added. And that's most important. You bring more value to your agency and your community by being solid with your time. You have great ideas. See, now I'm screwing them up. And you know the text. You're prepared for your job. And so if you want to know that the future's bright, heck yeah, it's bright. The future is bright. And it's bright because we have these kinds of opportunities to talk with each other and share our own thoughts and ideas and research and things that we're working on. And so I'd like to say thank you to Adam and District 3 and the CPRS crowd. I can tell you that in the last 30 plus years, that's where I've learned to be a better professional. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris and Jordan. Great presentation. Do we have any questions for them? Any ideas? Text? Got the first one already. Thanks, Chris. All right. Well, that concludes our Rec Talk Live.